Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You're walking with Mr. Clay. I'm Mr. Clay. And we thank God for those of you that have been with this channel from the beginning. And we thank God for those of you who have been with this channel here and there's about. And those of you who have just subscribed to this channel. Like, share, subscribe. As well as those of you who are about to subscribe to this channel. Yes. And we thank God for those of you who just are incognito. Yes. Yes, it's a beautiful day wherever you are, whether it's morning, noon, or night. You are just blessed to see a beautiful day. Or should I say fortunate to see a beautiful day, however you'll put it. But we're in the book of Isaiah, Isaiah chapter 58, the 58th chapter of Isaiah. And we see how with the events going on in the world today, we see how that many ambiguities are happening. I've noticed that one media would say one thing, another media would say another, and the other one would go into game theory and all it to confuse. Many of it is government media. Somebody paid, or they use an AI to resemble someone or something. But the thing is that in the long run, we will all find out. Like they say, when the wash is finished, it will all come out in the wash. Yes. And for right now is a time just to talk to the Most High. Talk to the I Am. Seek the face of the I Am. In these situations, wherever you are, you can be in the very place that these things are happening. And it's not to exclude you if you are in a place where you think you're safe. No, no one is safe in this world from anything. Anything can happen. Wherever you are, it can happen. This is why we keep our trust in the Most High, even the I Am, because it can happen even to us, wherever we are. Oh, it's just them over there. You're trusting in the arm of men for one thing. You're trusting in the arms of men. There are three spirits the Most High has that are roaming the earth. And these spirits, you see them roaming now. They are found in the book of Zechariah. The revelation is just, they were borrowed and given one horse. Either way, these three spirits cause us devastation. And the only way you can, or a group of people can really keep these three spirits from affecting them is prayer. And turning from our wicked ways unto the Most High. Yes. Isaiah chapter 58. Cry aloud, spare not, to lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sins, which is transgressions against the law. Yet they seek me daily, and delight to know my ways as a nation that did righteousness, and forsook not the ordinances of their God. They ask of me the ordinances of justice, and they take delight in approaching to God. Excuse me. He's saying, pray. This is what the Most High is saying. He said to the prophets, you see the prophets are doing all over the place. They're talking to the people and talking to Jacob, like with a voice like a trumpet. You have the different camps that are in different places, mainly the cities. This is where it's concentrated at. They're lifting up their voice like a trumpet, showing the people of the Most High their transgression, from the women to the men, as to what we should be doing in this last and evil day. Now, even Isaiah, the Most High, is giving instructions. Cry aloud. Don't hold back because of somebody's status or because you like them or because they might seem as though they're not doing nothing. Don't judge by their appearance, but just cry aloud and spare not is what the Most High is saying. Even as we get an opportunity to do so. Yet they seek me daily and to like to know my ways as a nation that did righteousness and forsook not the ordinance of their God. They still do that which is right. They ask of me ordinances of justice, and they take delight in approaching unto the Most High. Now, he says, wherefore have we fasted, they say. Or say they, thou seest not. We're doing all this fasting, God, and you don't see us. Wherefore have we afflicted our souls, and thou takest no knowledge. In other words, we suffering, we starving down here, willingly for you, and to get an answer from you. Behold, in the day of your fast ye found pleasure. In other words, you're going different places, you're finding pleasure in your wives, you're finding pleasure in other things that you do. And you go to work. You're working on your house, you're working in your yard, you're doing this and that, and yet you're fasting. In other words, you're not sacrificing anything. First you sacrifice your food, but now you're not sacrificing your daily life. It's a time that you take a vacation, a time that you just withdraw from all society, a time where you just bow down, you just do it the way the Most High says. This is what he's saying. The Most High says, don't go to work. Take a vacation. Take a day off. Don't come to your wives. Don't do whatever pleases you or you're normal in that day that pleases you. These are the things that consist of a fast to the Most High. Fasting, anybody can do it. There's nothing new about fasting. You open yourself up to spiritual things. In some instances, yes. In most instances, no. Sometimes you might dream of eating food. Yes, I've done that before. But nevertheless, he told them, number one, you find pleasure in your fast. Number two, you do whatever you got to do. You exact all your labors. He says, behold, ye fast for strife and debate. Strife. In other words, you're fighting with somebody over the law, over things of the law and stuff like that. To smite with the fist and of wickedness. And you're fighting, literally fighting. And you fast that you might win the fight with your neighbor or whoever. Ye shall not fast as ye do this day, saith the Most High, to make your voice to be heard on high. No, you don't do this. This is not your way. If you're fasting to overcome your enemy, then that's one thing. But when you are fighting betwixt one another, that's another. And the Most High shows his detest for it. Is this such a fast that I have chosen for a day for a man to afflict his soul? Is it to bow down his head as a bulrush, and to spread sackcloth and ashes under him? Wilt thou call this a fast, an acceptable day of the I Am? He's giving instruction here. He says, one, it's a day for a man to afflict his soul. It's a day that a man should bow down his head as a bulrush. In other words, just lay prostrate or kneel or however you do. To spread a sackcloth, to put some type of thing under you. That you would pray and cry and weep and whatever, let the mucus out your nose and call to the Most High. Wilt thou call this a fast, an acceptable day unto the I Am? This is what the Most High is really saying unto the children of Israel. He says, is this not a fast I have chosen, to loose the bands of wickedness? The benefits of a fast. To loose the bands of wickedness. Who has swayed the thoughts of men's heart? Even so, spirits, to undo heavy burdens, those who have gone through things in life, bereavements and all manner of things, and to let the oppressed go free. Oppressed of what? Spirits, of men. All these things are so. And that ye break every yoke, spiritually and physically. This is what you want to do. Is this not the fast to deal thy bread to the hungry, and that thou bring the poor that are cast out to thy house when thou seest the naked, and thou coverest him, and that thou hide thyself from thy own flesh? In other words, it's not about your family, it's about the poor that are cast out to thy house. Those who walk around don't have no clothes, give them some clothes. It's really the fast is softening your heart, is what he's saying. You can take the example of a fast from the book of Esther. She says, we're not going to drink no water, we're not going to eat no food for 3 days. That this king, I might go to the king and present my petition. And so all of those that were in that area who have received that notice of her cousin Malachi would do that fast. And lo and behold, read the book of Esther. Deliverance came. They chose 3 days to fast, to bow down their heads as a bulrush. And I can imagine, it's just my own thought, that Esther appeared more beautiful to the king than any woman after that fast than anything. Was more beautiful than even his judgment at that time. You have your beauty standards now, they had their beauty standards then. Most of our beauty standards are after white Europeans. Very few after other nations. This is what we are. You dress according to how you want, within good taste, yes. Not naked, not distasteful. But the fact is, you dress how you want. Your hair should be natural. I digress. But either way, he goes on and says, is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry, and that thou bringest the poor that are cast out to thy house when thou seest the naked, that thou cover him? This is what was going on in that day of war, the day that people were devastated. Their huts burned down, their houses demolished. I mean, and clothes were taken from them, because clothes were not a commodity then. If you had 2 changes of clothes, you were good. Many didn't have but what was on their back, and maybe a blanket. You have to think about it. Why is he talking about this way? Because it was the time where people had barely nothing. They did not know anything. A child had to take his clothes or her clothes and hand it down to the sibling. And the mother and father had to scurry, or if they knew how to make clothes, they would make clothes for their children, as they couldn't find the fabric. So we have to consider all these things in the sayings in the scripture of the Bible. We cannot compare the ancient writings with what we see today and what we notice today. This is what the deception is for you. You cannot compare it to that. Even your tithing and all of that cannot be compared to today. No, not today. No, God is not back yesterday. God is more modern than you think. But the fact is, we have been artificially deceived by the artificial things of men and spirits. Now, let us continue. Then shall thy light break forth as the morning. In other words, the Most High gonna see you. You're gonna shine before the Most High, and the same thing with those that are around you. And thine health shall spring forth speed. If you're sick, he said, I'm gonna heal you. And thy right hand shall go before thee, and the glory of the I Am shall be your reward. In other words, you're gonna glow. You gon' glow. I said it right, gon' glow. But fasting is unto the Most High is a twofold thing. You're not only afflicting your body, you're giving, and then you shall receive. Now, he says, then thou shalt call on the I Am, and the I Am shall answer, and thou shalt cry, and he shall say, here am I. If thou take away from the midst of thee the yoke, whatever oppression you pushing, the putting up forth of the finger, accusing people, and speaking lies or vanity, useless things, boasting on yourself. He said, that is what I desire from your fast. He says, and if thou draw thy soul to the hungry and satisfy the afflicted soul, he gets into a little more definition here. Then thy light shall rise in obscurity, and thy darkness shall be as the noonday. Now note, in this day and time, there are many people that are not afflicted. They're not going through much. They pretend to get monies on your street corners and all of this. You see this man just as healthy as two left shoes. Maybe have a beard or whatever. He gets a little money off the curve. Everybody gives him $1. Do you know if that's 200 people in a day, that's $200. If it's more than $1, then he's making maybe 1,000 or more a day, or 500 to 1,000 a day, just from standing on the corner doing nothing. He said he hit the bake in the sun, but that's nothing to him. Then he goes somewhere else, and he goes to the bar and drink and drives this nice car and pays his house note, and he helps his kids or whatever he does. That's deception. In other words, we have to be discerning in our giving. Not just because we want somebody, we think God sees us in everything, and he sees who we giving to. And then we give to organizations who only give back to those who is intended for a small fraction of what was given to them. Right then, you didn't have organizations. You have people who knew people. This guy's actually going through something. My whole motto for me is, if I don't know, or if I don't discern that you are in trouble, I'm not giving you nothing. Because many are just trying to make a living begging. And I'm sure in that time they had a few that did such a thing, and most of the time they were caught because the towns were small and the populations wasn't as many as now. So we have to be discerning not to give our money to things and people that are just plain greedy and don't have any self-dignity or self-pride to say that I don't need their money. But those who need will. And most of the people that have need, many will not tell you. You'll just see it. He says, now, to the hungry. The hungry man that's going to ask you for food. You don't care about the money. I need some food. That's one thing. And satisfy the afflicted soul. Some people are sick. They need to go to the hospital. Then thy light shall rise in obscurity, and thy darkness be as the noonday. And the I Am shall guide thee continually, and satisfy thy soul in drought, and make fat thy bones. And thou shalt be like a watered garden, like a spring of water whose water fail not. This is the fast. Show me where the poor and destitute are. Show me where those who have need of my services or whatever I can do for them that will help them get through the day or the next week or so. In some instances, some people have been shown how to not only do that, but teach them how to secure a sustaining living for themselves. Yes, this is what God is saying. Now, that's when we get in today's topics there. Sustaining. You have some are so oppressed by their own government that they make plenty of money, but they can't afford the housing. They can't afford the properties in some states and provinces. They cannot do it. So they live under bridges. They live out in their cars or their vans. Some even purchase mobile homes, or should I say the mobile houses that they have, and just roam the earth. They make money, they do good, but because of the oppression that is coming from government and business people, landowners. He says now, if you do this, thy darkness be as the noonday. In other words, the Most High is going to lighten your eyes, that you're going to see how to please God. And the I Am shall guide thee continually and satisfy thy soul in drought, and make fat thy bones. And thou shalt be like a watered garden, and like a spring of water, whose water fail not. And they shall be of thee, they that be of thee shall build in old waste places. I'm looking down my hall here, seeing where the noise is coming from. But anyway, thou shalt raise up foundations of many generations, and thou shalt be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of path to dwell in. Not literally, but people will see that you are a person that cares. If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure, he's saying, on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight. Now that is where a lot of things has to come into be. The Sabbath has to be a delight. Some it's a task, it's a hard task. Many of us has to work on the Sabbath day. Many of us don't even know what the Sabbath day is or when it is. Some say some even have it totally backwards, where they think the new moon is the Sabbath and convinced that it is so. There's nothing you can do about that. They're just convinced. The Sabbath being the full moon, something is not right with that mentality there. But either way, that's what they're convinced that it is. So, by whatever, should I say, weird reasoning that the person who had presented this to them have instilled in them, the Sabbath is on the full moon? Come on. No, it's not that way. He says, now on the Sabbath we should not be doing our pleasure on the most holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight in the holy of the I Am, honorable, and thou shalt honor him, or the I Am, not doing thy own ways, nor finding thy own pleasure. That's even coming into your wife. Nor speaking thine own words. Thine own words. Wow. Then thou shalt delight thyself in the I Am, and I will cause thee to ride upon the high places. This is the promise. If we do these things, then I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Jacob thy father, for the mouth of the I Am has spoken it. He's giving you a promise. If we will not do our pleasures on the Sabbath, and then it becomes a joy to us to stop whatever we're doing. And this thing we have to practice. For many are doing their own pleasure on the Sabbath. Some are drinking their drinks. Some even get drunk on the Sabbath. But they're not working. No, not working. But the Most High is saying, hey, not doing your own pleasure. This is what the Most High is saying. Thinking your own thoughts, doing your own words. In other words, your meditation should be as the angels in heaven. Your meditation should be as the spirits that are in heaven. For those of you who are spiritual. In other words, you're focused. When we didn't have phones, we didn't have TVs, what was our pleasure? What can we do in that day? Now we have so many things to entertain us. So many things to get our mind off of things. Now it's a fight to do the things that the Most High has commanded of us here in the book of Isaiah. And if we do these things, we will have peace.